Alright, what's going on? I am back again. Down to my final few days off of work. It's been over 2 months at this point. So I wanted to get another one of these filmed and edited in the next couple of days so I could have it out before I, never want to do anything ever again. So right now I'm home alone because Kaylee started a couple weeks before I had to. So I've been having a bunch of free time, and I could have made a few of these by now, but just didn't want to. So it's been me and Orlock, and this motherfucker's getting big. I don't know if you remember what he looked like last time I showed him, but he certainly wasn't this big. This dude has tripled in weight since we got him, which, is fucking wild. It's hard because I see him every day, so I don't really notice, but we were looking at pictures of him earlier when we just got him, and man, he's fucking huge. Anyway, let's get into it. We are in the background listening to War Moon Lord, which is a Finnish black metal project. It's a pretty new one. I think there's only 2 releases so far. Fantastic shit. A guy on Instagram sent this along with a bunch of other shit, just literally because he's a cool guy. So yeah, awesome. And I didn't pull out any 7-inches this time because I forgot to until right now. But that's alright, I'll just pace myself and we'll make a video out of 5 12-inch records. Starting off here, this is a record that I would say was up there with the few records that I think needed a proper vinyl press more than any album in the world. This is I Shalt Become with Wanderings. This is a project that was based out of Illinois. That formed back in like 1995, and this band, if you guys aren't familiar, really never fucked around with demos or EPs or anything like that. It was just full-length albums up until I think they did a split, I'm pretty sure it's just one dude, yeah, so just a bunch of full-length albums that did, in my opinion, get progressively just weirder. So there was a very clear, in my opinion, just sort of a degradation in the quality of the albums. But this right here is one of my favorite things to have ever been put out by any project coming from the US. So this was the first LP that came out in 1998. And it only just got a proper vinyl press. Bestial Rape Records, which is owned and operated by my buddy Craig, who you guys are all familiar with. But I do have something I gotta say about this. So this was distributed through Appalachian Noise Records. And Appalachian Noise Records, all these months later, still has copies of this. Everyone watching, take a seat, listen to me. There's absolutely no fucking reason that one of the best records to ever come out of the United States should be sitting in a distro right now after just getting its first vinyl press, first proper vinyl press, after what, 22 years now? Are you fucking kidding me? This is an absolute fucking masterpiece, and you dorks are letting it sit over at Appalachian Noise Records and collect dust in favor of ultra-raw black metal bands that sound like every other ultra-raw black metal band. Unacceptable, you should feel bad. So, like I said, first proper vinyl press, 400 copies on this one, with the original album cover, which looks like that. I probably shouldn't keep referencing the bootleg that came out however long ago it dropped, because it was a bootleg, but it didn't use this cover. There's the back cover right there, and of course you do see Bestial Rape Records. This does come with a single-sided lyric sheet right there, which is very cool to have the lyrics, because I never owned anything with the lyrics on them because I don't have the CD or anything. Not that I even know if that comes with the lyrics. And all 400 copies were on white vinyl, which fits perfectly. Very nice. Musically, this is very, very simple, like mid-paced black metal. A lot of people compare it to, like musically, to like early Burzum stuff, which I think works. My favorite song on here is The Funeral Rain. The howly vocals in that song are literally, for me, some of the best in the world. But often repetitive, sort of trancey riffs. The vocals, for the most part, are very retched and not very loud in the mix or anything. The Funeral Rain is kind of a standout vocally because it's just a bit different. But like I said, man, this is up there with some of my favorite black metal stuff. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to where you can fucking go get this, because as I said, there's absolutely no reason this should be sitting in Appalachian Noise. So fantastic, one of my favorite albums. I Shall Become Wanderings. Moving on, this one is an undeniably classic death metal album. This is Demilich with Nespith, maybe? Nespite? I don't know. This is the one and only full-length album that ever existed from Demilich. And I think this album came out back in like 1993 or something. And the only other thing this band ever did was, I think it was 4 demos that came out before this. This dropped and then they were done. However, it is my understanding this band still plays live all these years later, but have never released any other material. And weirdly, this one didn't ever have an LP press until like, I think it was 2009, it got the very first LP press, and it's been pretty much kept up with ever since then. This is a Svart Records pressing, which I think is probably like 2018, maybe 19. But honestly, for me, a band like this that sort of had, you know, one ultra classic album that everybody kind of knows about, and then just doesn't put anything out for 26, 27 years, I don't really think it would be, I wouldn't want to see this band release something else now. There's no way it would be the same. And I think that this band, as it stands, has a pretty good catalog. But for me, honestly, the reason I only just bought this a couple months back is simply because, like, it was always one of those records that was just available, so I could just go get it. And, you know, then I went and actually looked for it and I couldn't find it anywhere, and then it got put up again, so I just grabbed it. As for the music on this one, if you're not familiar, I don't really know how to describe it. I guess this one would qualify more as like proggy death metal with like ultra intricate riffs. And these ultra intricate, super proggy style riffs, nobody's sitting around sort of nodding along to shit like this. It doesn't have that quality to it, but it does have a sort of atmosphere of something a lot more heavy and like aggressive than I think it actually is. And I think that's in part thanks to the vocals. The vocals on this are some of the most absurd sounding vocals on any release ever. They're just ultra fucking gurgly. And honestly, for me, I don't really understand why these two things work together. Because the sort of proggy instrumentation on this and like the ultra brutal death metal sounding gurgly vocals, it just doesn't seem like something that would go hand in hand, but this I think works really quite well. Anyway, album cover is ridiculous, as you should probably expect given the music on this thing. Back cover there, I like the blurry picture of the band playing live against Svart Records. Lyric sheet, which is cool. I haven't actually sat down and read along with the lyrics on this album ever. Which is something I should probably do, because I don't even know if it's possible. Black vinyl, red labels, very cool. But yeah, real fun, a very interesting mix of vocals and instruments. But I ain't cluing anybody in on Demilich, so check it out if you ain't heard it. That's Nespith. Alright, so this next record is completely unlike the other two. This is Molchat Doma. I can't read the album title at all, but I believe, from what I looked up, the translation is something like "from the roofs of our houses." So no idea what that is about, but this is a post-punk band from Belarus. This is entirely different from probably anything else I've ever really talked about on this channel. Closer to something approximating darkwave. It kind of appeals to the same part of me that does, but it's different in ways I can't describe. But this is the first full-length album that came out in 2017. There was an album that came out after it, I think the very next year, that I have on the way. But yeah, for now I've got this. But this is like a very like lo-fi 80s throwback. The vocals are very reverbed. All the music kind of sounds a bit reverbed as well. It's just got a really nice dark atmosphere to it. Unfortunately, I can't follow along with any of the lyrics or anything because I don't speak this language. But for me, the songwriting is extremely catchy. I just like the image that this sort of paints in my head. The song, I think it's the third song on here, I think, is probably my favorite on this record. If not, I will put it in to the song clip regardless, so you'll hear a piece of it. But there's the front cover right there. That is a picture of that weird triangular hotel in Pyongyang in North Korea. Not really sure why they used that on the album cover, but whatever. Back cover right there is very simple, and this doesn't come with an inner sheet or anything, and it is on black vinyl. So yeah, man, if post-punk, which again, I can't really describe what makes something post-punk, but I mean, you'll hear something in the song clip. So yeah, man, this shit's great. The second album is just as good, and I'll talk about it eventually, but for now, Molchat Doma from the roofs of our houses. Let's talk about a record that came out a couple years ago, back in 2018. This is Strigoi with The Oldest of Blood. This is basically, this is the same two guys that make up the current lineup of, which is Michael Ford and Asgore. And to be completely honest, right out of the gate, this sounds like a Drowning the Light album to me. This is sort of punctuated by this sort of epic feeling that exists in almost every song on this thing, as well as, like, you know, the use of pipe organ and stuff, which makes it feel very vampiric, which is obviously the point. But like I said, it's a very similar sound and atmosphere to Drowning the Light, so, you know, it's weird at parts of it that you know, it is a different project, at least thinking about it while I'm playing it. But whatever, man. This is the one and only release from this project so far. There's the front cover right there. I fucking love this shit, man. I love that. Love him. Which I guess that's supposed to be Asgore, at least on the inside. Another picture of the same dude is labeled Asgore. This guy here looks super fucking cool, man. Look at that shit, badass. And the other side just has some information about, I guess, maybe the artistic vision behind the album. I don't know if I showed the back cover. If I already showed the back cover, just edit this shit out. Yeah, again, very cool. I love the way this dude here looks, very scary. 400 copies if I didn't say it. It does come with a lyric sheet here. Cool. And those 400 copies are all on black vinyl, so I'm not going to pull it out. I think the other 100 records were on red, I think. So in conclusion, even though this does sound pretty similar to you know, some Drowning the Light stuff, I really, really love Drowning the Light, so that's not in any way, shape, or form a sort of knock against this record. This is really fucking good, and I wish I knew about it a bit earlier than last year, but yeah, fantastic, love it, really cool. Strigoi, Oldest of Blood. Let's finish this shit off. This is probably gonna be a pretty short video too, guys, I'm sorry. I would actually say this is another pretty drastic change of pace from the other shit we've talked about in this video so far. This is 13th Moon. This is a band from Spain, obviously. I think we probably all know 13th Moon. And this is a compilation of 13th Moon demos, the first two demos that both came out in 2013. Pale Spectre Over the Worm and Oracle of Death. So right off the bat, for me, it's worth mentioning that 13th Moon has one of the nastiest, dirtiest fucking sounds in the game. The music is crackly and hellish, the vocals are tortured and like distant sounding, completely undecipherable, and the black metal stuff is just simply fucking dirty. And that is only the black metal stuff, which the Pale Spectre Over the Worm, the first demo on here, that's where the black metal stuff lives. On the B side, Oracle of Death, it's pretty much all ambient. There's one instance of vocals, like just retched vocals, but it's all ambient music. So for me, I mainly put on the A side of this one, because I gotta be in a very specific mood to just listen to ambient music. But that's the back cover, by the way. Front cover has a skull. It always looks to me like this skull is wearing a top hat, but it's not. It's like a snake in an hourglass. This comes with an inner sleeve here. I like the image of the skull there. What the fuck? On the B side, it's got like silver foil, which is really quite nice. Strange that it's only on one side of the inner sleeve though, and not like, I don't know, the front cover or something. I just have a black vinyl, which I think was 350 copies. There was also like a sort of black and silver like swirl. Don't remember how many copies that was limited to. If you've never heard 13th Moon, go listen to Abhorrence of Light, which is the full-length album that came out back in like 2014 or something. Downright fucking disgusting black metal. As well as like if you find some of the videos that this band has done, you can find them on YouTube. It looks a whole lot to me like they broke into like a fucking crypt or something, or stealing human bones. Quit it, fucker. Which is pretty fucked up. You can still, again, you can find it on YouTube, so I would recommend looking it up. So yeah, man, 13th Moon, fantastic. Really, really gross sounding black metal. Oh, really good, man. Check it out if you ain't heard it. Pale Spectre Over the Worm, Oracle of Death. This cassette just ended a minute ago, so it's a good time for this video to be done with. Thanks for sticking around. We'll get another one of these out whenever I have the energy to do it again. But hopefully that won't take so long. So thanks for toughing it out, and we'll be back soon, guys. Later.